If you saw my previous videos on the Family Guy conspiracy, I hope you were able to pull yourself out of that Chris Griffin rabbit hole. Because now I'm ready to push you into a Peter Griffin ditch. So this theory, like the other one, works best if you follow the old episodes. And again, it's no ties to the actual creators. So, if you're a Family Guy fan, I'm sure you've seen from episode 1 all the way through. But this theory actually starts in episode 2. This is the episode where Meg learns how to drive. Peter ends up taking Meg to her driver's test, where she ends up failing because he did such a poor job of teaching her. Because he was unattentive to his driving, he ends up hitting a TV tower, knocking out all the cable in Quahog. He ends up making some bad dad decisions, and this drives him crazy. He makes a TV out of a cardboard box. He starts walking around town thinking that he's watching the people of real life in a TV show. Once Peter came clean about his actions, he decided to take a step away from the television and get into some reality. Right in the middle of him finally finding happiness without television, television comes back on. Refusing to sit down and watch TV, he goes to a festival with William Shatner. As they leave the festival, it starts to rain and they decide to run home and play in the rain. At the same time, Meg is getting a driving lesson from her mom. Because it's raining so hard, Lois asks Meg to pull over so that she can take the wheel instead. In the middle of doing this, Meg ends up hitting William Shatner and her dad. Now, in the episode, William Shatner actually dies. But in this theory, let's say that the person that actually got most of the damage was Peter. William Shatner got a few bumps and bruises, but Peter, he ended up in a coma. And everything since then has been all in his head. Now, if you remember, I referred to Peter walking around town with a TV constructed on his body. Well, this kind of explains why he's able to do all the crazy adventures that he does, have battles with the FCC, and will never win an Emmy. The other part of this theory is that Peter's body has been shutting down for years. So if we look at all the major ailments that Peter has had, he first almost had prostate cancer, but Dr. Hartman said it was benign. He then suffered from a stroke. Remember when he had total kidney failure? We could suggest that the growth coming out of his neck was actually a tumor. Every time death comes and visits Peter, that's Peter coding, and his epiphany is him being resuscitated. So there is a clip that I haven't been able to find, but it's of Stewie where he specifically says that the cancer has now reached his brain in reference to Peter and his health. If you can find that clip, please tag me in it because I'm having a really hard time trying to find it. This clip is important because it points to the fact that Peter has cancer and his body has been shutting down. If you look in the Emmy episode, he even plays Walter White, which is a character who had cancer, which is also in his Emmy episode that he can never get because he is in a coma. And all of his adventures have been in his head as a TV show on Fox Network. If you need a little bit more convincing, you remember when Carter discovered the cure for cancer and Stewie and Brian stole it, and how important it was for them to get it and get it out to people that needed it instead of letting Carter be selfish? I mean, outside of the part of him being selfish. Could also look at Lois and Peter's relationship from how they started in the beginning of episode 1 and 2 to the relationship that they have now, where Lois basically just doesn't care what Peter is doing. So this will wrap up my Family Guy conspiracy Peter Griffin rabbit hole.